this brother had so many questions. So he sat beside, a person, asked them questions for an hour or two, and they sort of dried them up, then moved to the next seat, asked them questions. He covered the whole bus by the time we got to Mount Abu. And we thought, what are we going to do with this brother? So we took him to Didi Manmohini, and Didi met him. And as Baba does, she gave him drishti for 2 minutes. And in that 2 minutes, he had the experience of being a bodiless soul, and all his questions stopped. And I really remember that it made me realize that when we have experience, we can answer our own questions. If I'm just stuck in the intellect, thinking, question. But when I really have experiences, I convert what I know into what I feel, I experience it, I will start to answer my own questions. And really, this journey from imagining the soul to start experiencing myself as a soul, seeing the soul, to experiencing the reality, I'm an incorporeal point. And I've been sharing this in recent places maybe I've shared it here, I forget, but something that really touched me deeply and gave me an experience was in science now, in biology, they say that the body is made up of 40 trillion cells. You think about that. How many is that? Unimaginable. The soul is more subtle than one cell. The soul, I just think who I am. I am so subtle. I am non-physical. I'm just sitting lightly in this physical form. What keeps me in this body? Just my identification. That's what keeps me. Because I think I'm the body, I still sit in it. Brahma Baba got to the point where he stopped identifying and he became an angel. He became a complete angel. And in a way, I think, why do we give drishti? There's many reasons. But one of the reasons is that I'm looking at the soul sitting in a body. But what am I doing? I'm remembering Baba. And then when I come into action, I see the body, but actually I learn to remember Baba. Because the deepest habit is to see the body and it triggers thinking, either good thoughts or not so good thoughts. It's instant. And yet Baba's sort of educating us to see all the bodies, all the variety in the drama, but I keep remembering Baba. Baba's method is to keep my eyes open when I meditate. When Sakar days, if children close their eyes, Baba say, you're still a bhagat, you're still a devotee. Baba's method is to keep my eyes open. And sometimes we just close our eyes, but it's a devotional thing, it's a bhakti thing, because I want to sort of shut out influences. But Baba says, no, go beyond them. Keeping my eyes open, I go beyond influence, not trying to shut out influence. And, once I was in Sri Lanka, actually, in the south of Sri Lanka, and there was a Buddhist brother, so I think some of you have met him, and he has a temple in Gaur, which is the very south of Sri Lanka, and he was Baba's child for many years. He used to go to Madhaban and meet Baba and wear his Buddhist costume. And he used to read the Murli on the mic in his temple until Didi told him to cool it a bit. But you know what happened? I was giving a talk in his temple and one of the people attending his temple said, why do you meditate with your eyes open? Because most groups meditate with their eyes closed. And I gave my answer. And then he said to me, "Can I speak?" And I said, "Well, it's your temple. I mean, of course you can." And you know what he said? He said, Buddha meditated with his eyes open. And if you look at the statues of Buddha, they're just slightly open. And that really made me realize that perhaps in the Copper Age, many people also used to still. But as the soul got more and more body conscious and influence, it tried to shut out the world rather than go beyond the influence of the world. And so Baba today is just saying, children, have the vision of brotherhood. See beyond the conditions of the body. And sometimes in the Sakamoli, Baba says, this is the highest effort. This is it really, when the programming is to see the body in a millisecond and make a whole lot of thoughts and judgments, to go beyond and actually see the soul takes a lot of effort and attention. So the essence for this morning: sweet children, you belong to God's family. The law of God's family is to live in the consciousness of brotherhood. The law of the Brahman family, so the law of God's family, is to live in the consciousness of brotherhood. The law of the Brahman family is, what's that law? What's that law? To live as brothers and sisters. So as Shiv Baba's child, souls; as Brahma Baba's child, brothers and sisters. Therefore, there can be no impure vision. Question: in which way is the confluence age beneficial? The answer: at this time, the Father comes personally in front of his beloved children and plays the part of father, teacher, and Satguru. This is the beneficial time when you children understand and follow the Father's unique instructions for changing hell into heaven and for granting salvation to everyone. And another question this morning: how is your renunciation Sato Pradhan? So what does Baba say? The sannyasi's renunciation is not Sato Pradhan. It's gross. They just physically leave. Once I was watching an interview of a British man who became a Buddhist monk, and he went to live in Sri Lanka. Somehow I'm remembering Sri Lanka this morning. And they asked him openly, what do you think about? Here he was in a Buddhist robe sitting in the jungle in Sri Lanka. He said, I remember all the good times in London. And so it's like, what's the point? What's the point of the renunciation? He was very honest. So what's our Sato Pradhan renunciation? You remove the entire old world from your intellects. By having this renunciation, you only remember the Father and the inheritance. You also remain pure and take precautions about your diet. By doing this, you become deities. The renunciation of the sannyasis is limited, not unlimited. The song: no one is unique like the innocent Lord. Om Shanti. Firstly, the Father tells the children, consider yourselves to be souls and remember the Father. The Father said, Manmana Bhav, 5,000 years ago as well. Forget all bodily relations and consider yourselves to be bodiless souls. Does each one of you consider yourself to be a soul? None of you considers yourselves to be the supreme soul, do you? Anyone here think they're God? Anybody? That's good. The term great supreme soul is never used. When a soul becomes pure, he receives a pure body. Alloy then becomes mixed in the soul. The Father explains to the children with tact. It is definite that as souls, we are all brothers, and in terms of the body, we are brothers and sisters. Many couples who are sitting here would be upset if they were told to consider themselves to be a brother and sister. However, this law is explained. Baba calls it a law. The Father of all our souls is the one Father, and so we are brothers. Then, when we enter human bodies, we are the creation of the Father of the people, Brahma. Therefore, his mouse-born creation must definitely be brothers and sisters. Everyone speaks about the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul. The Father is the creator of heaven, and since we are his children, why should we not become the masters of heaven? However, heaven is in the golden age. It isn't that the Father comes and creates a new world. What does Baba do then if he doesn't create a new world? What does Baba do? So meaning he doesn't create it from scratch. And this is a wonder. This made so much sense to me when I came in Gyan. You know, the Christians believe God created the world from nothing, sort of thing. But Baba recreates what's already here. So Baba says, it isn't that the Father comes and creates a new world. The Father comes and changes the old world and makes it new. That is, he changes this world. Therefore, the Father has come here. He gave the inheritance of heaven to Bharat. The biggest temple, Somnath, is the memorial of that. Surely there was the one deity religion in Bharat at that time, and there were no other religions. All others came afterwards. Therefore, all other souls were definitely with the Father in the land of Nirvana. The people of Bharat were liberated in life. They were in the Sun Dynasty clan. They now have lives of bondage. You know how Baba says, I love this. We only have relationships in theory in Golden and Silver Age because there's purity and freedom. All relationships in the Copper and Iron Age are based on bondage, karmic. We're born into families because of our karmic accounts. So Baba doesn't theoretically define them as relationships, they're bondages. I'm only born into a particular family because of a karmic bondage. It's not that it's all bad, but there's some karmic thing there. They now have lives of bondage. There is the example of King Janak, who received liberation in life in a second. The whole of heaven has liberation in life. Although within that each one's status is received according to his own efforts, everyone has liberation in life. Therefore, the bestower of liberation and liberation in life must be the one Satguru, but no one knows this. Everyone is now in bondage to Maya. It is said that the ways and means of God are unique. He gives Srimat. He definitely comes. At the end, everyone will say, oh God, oh God. You now say, oh God, your ways and means of changing this hell into heaven are unique. You know you are studying Easy Raja Yoga once again. This was also taught a cycle ago at the confluence. The Father himself says, beloved children, I only come in front of you children. He is the Supreme Father as well as the Supreme Teacher. He gives knowledge. No one else can give the knowledge of this world cycle. Is that traffic control? So Baba was saying, no one else can give the knowledge of this world cycle. No one knows the beginning, the middle, or the end, or the history and geography of the world. Nor does anyone know how the Supreme Father, Supreme Soul, accomplishes the tasks of establishment and destruction. You children have now come to know everything. It doesn't take God long to change humans into deities. This is his praise. It is also said God washes the impure clothes. Each of you should ask yourself, am I pure or impure? There is the throne of the immortal image. Where is the throne of the immortal image? It must be in the supreme abode, that is, in the Brahm element. We souls also reside there. It is also called the immortal throne, where no one can yet go. So Baba's referring to the Sikh in the Golden Temple in Amritsar. They have the immortal image, the immortal throne, but obviously a physical, not the real thing. However, we reside in the sweet home and Baba also lives there. However, there are no chairs or couches there, etc. to sit on there. There you are bodiless. So if you're hoping for a nice comfy couch in the soul world, you're not going to have it. It's wonderful, isn't it, how Baba, gives us images that help us understand. Therefore, you should explain that you receive liberation in life in a second. That is, you become worthy. The Father says, remember Shiv Baba in the land of Vishnu. At the moment you are sitting in the land of Brahma. You are the children of Brahma as well as the children of Shiv Baba. If you do not consider yourselves as to be brothers and sisters, you indulge in the vice of lust. This is God's family. You children are sitting here. Dada, the grandfather, is here. The father is here, and you are their children. You are the children of Shiv Baba through Brahma. You are the grandchildren of Shiva. When you are in human bodies, you are brothers and sisters. At this time, you are brothers and sisters in a practical way. This is the clan of Brahmins. Your intellects have to understand this. You receive liberation in life in a second, but the status will be varied. Maya, who causes sorrow, doesn't even exist there. There isn't that Ravan is burnt from the beginning of the Golden Age until the end of the Iron Age, like they say, that they have been burning him since the beginning of time. Who has seen the burning of Ravan? Have you seen? I've seen it in Mount Abu. Have you seen it in Mount Abu? It's often there, you know where Bubba's Rock is at Nucky Lake, where you walk up to Bubba's Rock? You know the platform that comes out into the lake? When I saw it, they built Ravan there, and Ravan had all his family as well, his wife and his kids. And they had all these statues, and the whole of Mount Abu came around the lake. They were all watching, even the BKs came. And what they did is they put crackers in Ravan's head and so they'd burn, then it's pure entertainment. It has no significance whatsoever. It's just like, oh, okay, that's happened. Let's go. That was my experience anyway. That is impossible. How could devils exist in heaven? The Father has said, this is the devilish community, and they have used the names Akasura, Bakasura. They also say that Krishna grazed cows. This part was also enacted. All of you are, who are we? Your cows? All of you are the cows of Shiv Baba. Shiv Baba feeds you with, what does he feed us with? Everyone eating grass, is that right? Shiv Baba feeds you with the grass and also the one who sustains you. People go to the temples and sing praise of the deities. You are full of all the divine virtues, whereas we are degraded sinners. They cannot call themselves deities, so they call themselves Hindus. The original name is Bharat. It is said in the Gita, I come in Bharat when there is defamation of religion. Hindustan is not mentioned in the Gita. God speaks. God is the incorporeal one, and everyone knows him. In heaven, all are human beings with divine virtues. They are the ones who take 84 births, so they will definitely go from heaven to hell. There must be a meaning to being called worshippers and worthy of worship. Sri Krishna is foremost in being worthy of worship. Infancy is known as the Satopradhan stage. The age of childhood is then The Sato stage and youth is the Rajo stage. I don't remember hearing that from Baba. So when you're just a little baby, you're Sato Pradhan. And then when you're just a child, you're Sato. Old age is the world also goes through these stages of Sato, Rajo, and Tamo. Once I was in Rio de Janeiro and in Brazil, and how can you describe it? It's quite a, well, I'm not sure, wild place to say. And they said that there's all the stages. There's Sato Pradhan, Sato, Rajo, Tamo, Tamo Pradhan, and then Rio Pradhan. So you can tell what they felt about it. And I'd probably agree with them as well. Old age is the Tamo stage. The world also goes through these stages of Sato, Rajo, and Tamo. After the Iron Age, the Golden Age has to come. The Father comes at the Confluence Age. This is the most beneficial age. There cannot be any other age like this one. To come down from the Golden to the Silver Age is not beneficial. If 2 celestial degrees are lost, how could it be called a beneficial age? When you come down to the Copper Age, there is a further decrease in degrees, so that is not a beneficial age either. This Confluence Age is beneficial. It is when the Father grants salvation, especially to Bharat and the whole world in general. You are now making effort to go to heaven. The Father says only this deity religion. What's the unique quality of the deity religion? Only this deity religion gives happiness, complete happiness. You have forgotten your religion, which is why you go into other religions. In fact, your religion is the highest. You are now studying Raja Yoga once again, so you must follow Srimad. All others are following the devilish dictates of Ravan. The 5 vices are in everyone, and out of those, impure arrogance comes first. The Father says, shed body consciousness and become soul conscious, become bodiless. You have forgotten me, your Father. This is also the game of becoming lost in the maze. Some say, since we have to fall again, why make effort? Anyone here think that? However, if you don't make effort, how would you claim the kingdom of heaven? You must also understand the drama. There is only this one world and the cycle continues to turn. In the beginning, it is the golden age, the age of truth. They also say that history and geography of the world repeat. So when does it begin? How will it repeat? You make effort for that. The Father says, I have come once again to teach you Raja Yoga, which you are now studying. The kingdom will be established. The Yadavas and the Kauravas will be destroyed, and there will be victory. Then the gates to liberation and life will open. Until then, the gates remain closed. The gates open. When will the gates fully open? They're still closed. The gates to Paramdam and the Golden Age. Then the gates open when the war takes place. The Father comes as a guide and takes you home. He is also the liberator. He liberates you from the claws of Maya. Many people are caught in the chains. Which chains are so many people caught in today? Manmat, see? The chains of the gurus. Pretty powerful, some of these gurus. They are very afraid that if they don't follow the guru's orders, he may curse them. However, they don't follow the orders of their guru anyway. He is pure and viceless, whereas they are impure and indulge in vice. There was a famous devotee in India who the last direction that his guru gave him was something like, raise your hand. Then his guru died. So he literally spent the rest of his life, even when he slept, he would tie his hand to the, because that's how incredibly obedient he was to his guru. Lucky Baba frees us from these things. Imagine the whole life holding your hand like this. People have so much faith in gurus, yet they don't even realize what they are doing. That is the influence of the path of devotion. You have now become sensible and wise. You understand that Brahma, Vishnu, and Shankar are residents of the Sattva region. Out of them, Brahma and Vishnu have parts here, but Shankar has no need to come here. Jagadamba, the world mother, Jagat Pita, the world father, and you children are here. They show the goddesses with many arms. There are innumerable images. All of those images belong to the path of devotion. Human beings are human beings. They also show Radha and Krishna as having 4 arms. At the time of Deepmala, they worship Mahalakshmi, which represents the 2 arms of Lakshmi and the 2 arms for Narayan. This is why they are both worshipped in their combined form. This is the path of the household. There is nothing else here. They show Kali with a long tongue and Krishna as dark blue. Because the deities fall to the path of sin, they become ugly. Then by sitting on the pyre of knowledge, they become beautiful. Even the world mother, who is such a sweet mother, the one who fulfills the desires of everyone's heart, is shown as dark in her image. They create so many images of the goddesses. They are worshipped and then sunk in the sea. That is the worship of dolls. Baba says, all of it is fixed in the drama and it will happen again. There is so much expansion of the path of devotion. There are so many temples, images, and scriptures, etc. Don't even ask. So Baba's description of bhakti, it is a waste of time and a waste of money. So what we've been doing for 2,500 years, a waste of time and a waste of money. People have become those with completely impure intellects. They have become as worthless as shells. The Father says you have been stumbling a great deal on the path of devotion, and the Father is now freeing you from all of those complications. Simply remember the Father and the inheritance, and definitely remain pure. You must take precautions with your diet. Otherwise, your mind will become like the food you eat. Sannyasis also have to take birth to householders. That is Rajo Pradhan renunciation, whereas this is Sato Pradhan renunciation, because you renounce the entire old world. Their renunciation also has a lot of power. The president will bow to a guru. Bharat was pure. Its praise is sung. The people of Bharat were full of all divine virtues. They have now become completely vicious. Since they go to the temples of the deities, they must belong to that religion. Just as people who go to the temple of Guru Nanak must belong to the Sikh religion. However, they don't say they belong to the deity religion. The reason? Because they are not pure. The Father says, I have now come to create Shivalaya, the temple of Shiva once again, and only deities will reside in heaven. This knowledge later disappears. The Gita, the Ramayana, etc. will all finish, and then according to the drama, they will re-emerge at their own times. These are things that have to be understood, because this is the school where human beings come to change into deities. However, a human being can never grant salvation to another human being, but what can they give? A human being can never grant salvation to another human being. That's a law of the drama. They can only give temporary happiness to one another. Here there is temporary happiness, and the rest is nothing but sorrow. In the golden age, there is no trace of sorrow. There is temporary happiness, and the rest is nothing but sorrow. In the golden age, there is no trace of sorrow. The very name is heaven, the land of happiness. The name heaven is very famous. The Father says, by all means, stay in your household, but during this last birth, promise the Father, Baba, I am your child. I will become pure in this last birth and definitely claim my inheritance of the pure world. It is very easy to remember the Father. Acha, acha. To the sweetest, beloved, long lost and now found children, love, remembrance, and good morning from the mother, the father, Bapdada. The spiritual father says namaste to the spiritual children. Spiritual children, namaste. The essence, number one. Shed any arrogance of your body and become soul conscious. Practice being bodiless. 2, understand the drama accurately, and make effort. Don't stop making effort by having such thoughts as, what was the thought that stops effort? I will do it if it's in the drama. And the blessing. May you be an intense effort maker and create an elevated reward by knowing the importance of the confluence age. The confluence age is a short age, and it is only in this age that you can experience the Father's company. The time of the confluence age and this life are both as valuable as diamonds. As you know the importance of this, you must not allow yourself to leave his company even for a second. If a second has gone, it was not just a second, but a lot that has gone. This is the age in which to accumulate an elevated reward for the whole cycle. If you remember the importance of this age, you will make intense efforts and claim royal rights. The slogan, to give everyone love and cooperation. How would you describe that? I give everyone love and cooperation is to be a world server. Everyone cooperation, love and cooperation is to be a world server. Actually, one of the things that I remember from Didi Manmohini, she often used to say, if you remember the confluence age, you remember the whole knowledge, you remember everything of the whole knowledge. This is the time to change. This is the time to become self-conscious. This is the time to know Baba. This is the time to be pure. Like the whole knowledge comes when I remember the confluence age. So I thought just yesterday we had a session in the morning and there were some questions, but there wasn't time to answer the questions. So I just thought maybe for a few minutes to have a go at answering the questions. And even if there's time, if anyone else has another question, it's okay. So number one was, from your experience and experimentation, does invoking souls where there are accounts and asking for forgiveness help to clear the chit? So let's say I have a karmic account with another soul. Does invoking that and asking for forgiveness clear the chit? I think it has to be absolutely honest and authentic. And there was one brother in Australia who told me a story that he had a falling out with his best friend. They weren't getting on. And for 10 years, they didn't speak. And he began to practice a spiritual path. Actually, he wasn't a BK. But he decided, I wanted to resolve this conflict with my friend. And so he would ring him and his friend wouldn't answer his phone. He'd send his messages and his friend wouldn't respond. And nothing happened. And he even got a third party, another friend, to ask him. He wouldn't answer. And then he looked at himself, why this isn't happening. And he said, deep down, I was saying to my friend, okay, let's get over it. Let's forgive each other. Let's move on. But he said, at the heart of myself, I was still thinking I was right and you were wrong. It's very subtle, isn't it? I'm saying, okay, let's be friends. Let's get over it. But still, I'm holding on to the position that I am right and you are wrong. And it wasn't successful. And he said, I did this effort to really clear that feeling, and he immediately took my call. So I think that we can clear the mental account, if I really let go this ego where I feel I'm saying, I forgive you, but deep down I'm still thinking actually you were the problem and I was okay, but just to get on better. So it has to be extremely authentic. I feel 100% authentic, that I really know my part in a problem and completely become quite humble. The next one, how can I go beyond all forms of attractions while living in this world, like Daddy Gulzar? I was traveling with Bridge Mohanbai in Delhi just in March. We were going to the opening of a new center, and we were talking about Daddy Gulzar. And he was saying how much attraction people had for Daddy Gulzar. And he said, why? Because she had no attraction to anything. Isn't everything a paradox? If you have the less you are attracted, people will be attracted. It's like these paradoxes in a way. And I think that, really the natural form of going beyond, the natural renunciation is love. The more you fall in love with Baba, then you're pulled beyond influences. You're just naturally not attracted. But if that relationship isn't so deep, I wrestle with myself, thinking I mustn't be pulled, I mustn't be attracted, but I am attracted. And that's why everything in this life boils to the quality of my relationship with Baba. The more there's love, belonging, relationship, none but one, I think there's natural renunciation, there's natural purity, it just happens naturally. That's the way I think Baba wants it to be. Can intention and feelings be different? Or from intention, does it radiate feelings? Yes, it does, because the intention creates the feelings. In a sense, I was saying yesterday, there's awareness, attitude, atmosphere. You could almost say intention, feelings, environment. So whatever is the intent colors your feelings. So if your intent is benevolent, that will color your feelings. But if your intent is a little bit angry, your intent is feelings of hurt, that colors the vibrations. And in a way, sometimes I think the more I feel close to Baba, I'm in that high place. All the intentions that come out of that place are the seeds of my karma. And that's why we meditate in the morning. We meditate in the morning to create such an elevated awareness. And so all my actions, all my intentions come out of that elevated place, and they color my vibrations. So the whole of the law of karma is about intention. Intention. Even the law of the land. If someone kills somebody, there's two. It's either murder, there was an intent to kill, or manslaughter, there was no intent to kill. Even the Lokic world understands that. And that's, I think, when my intentions are clean, my intentions are pure, They create good wishes and pure feelings. That's the sort of the seed of spiritual power. What effort should I be making to reduce zero wastage, especially at thought level? You know, my way of describing waste these days is a lack of acceptance of drama. Drama is perfect, drama is fixed, drama is unchanging. And when I fight drama, I reject drama, I don't like drama, then I have waste thought. If I really understand this scene is eternal and fixed, this actor's part can never change, then, you know, I won't have so many waste thoughts. But I think Baba's method too is to churn knowledge. In a way, I think there's either churning knowledge or waste. It's one or the other, quite frankly. If you're not and to me, churning knowledge is interpreting life like Baba. As I go about my day, I'm interpreting behaviors and situations. I'm seeing with all the fundamentals that Baba gives us. I'm looking through his lens. So I see souls playing their eternal parts. And I have all the building blocks of truth. So each scene I interpret like Baba. But if I'm not churning knowledge really, and I begin to interpret it like my body conscious, my old self. And sometimes I think, it's like when I'm on the ground floor, I'm body conscious. I look at life through that lens. I just see gross things happening. As I go up the lift to the first floor, the second floor, as I become more soul conscious, the way I interpret every scene of life is different. And when I really become soul conscious, I see completely different. I see death as nothing. It's nothing. But when I'm on the ground floor, it's everything. It's shocking. It's terrible. But as I go up in the lift of truth, I see the reality. So it's like I'm looking through Baba's lens. And I feel in a way what a privilege it is to listen to the Murli, because God's sharing how he thinks, how he sees everything. It's incredible, really. And when I think, in a way, Baba's also demonstrating children, this is how to think, this is how to see life through this lens. And what is the difference between being adamant and being determined? I would say that determination is such a beautiful quality. We need a lot of determination. But sometimes we become so adamant about my way. It has to be done this way. And it's a subtle form of ego in a way that when I'm forceful, I'm so strong. But I love the principle of master and child. This is the principle of working in a team. And the team culture is the way to work these days. All over the Brahman world, we work in a team culture. That means every soul has a right to offer an opinion as a master. We all do, everyone. But what the majority wants, we become a child and we accept. This is the way to build unity. This is the way to build unity. It's good if I just keep my feelings inside and don't express them and feel a bit frustrated. That's my problem. I have the opportunity to express. But once I've expressed, I go with the majority. But if I keep saying, no, it has to be this way, it has to go, that forcefulness pushes people away. People don't come close. Even if it is sometimes the right thing for Baba, force damages relationships in that way. And I think that it's actually quite a big thing to work as a team, because I need a lot of humility, because sometimes I'm just so convinced this is the right way. So what do? Do I push what I think is right, or do I build unity out of the choice? I would go for the latter. The unity is more important than my idea, because to me, unity, once Baba said, unity is collective purity. Unity is collective purity. And in a way, the instrument becomes a facilitator for people to give their ideas, and then we come to a common idea. We move together as a family in unity. And in my experience, this is how Daddy G worked. You know, once in Melbourne, and I'll finish on this, there was a brother called Harold. I know Mirabin will remember Harold. And he was from San Francisco, and he was quite a personality. He was a psychologist, quite well known in America. And he actually said to Daddy G, a group of we psychologists did a study on NRMs. They are called new religious movements, like the Brahma Kumaris. From the worldly perspective, we're a new religious movement. And he said, I won't go into the detail, most of them begin very powerfully with a powerful teacher. People come, and it grows fast after about 8 or 10 years. And then when money comes into the organization, the conflict begins and the organization falls apart within about 15 to 25 years. And he said to her, why haven't the Brahma Kumaris fallen apart? Why do you get stronger? And you know what Daddy said when she has a big decision? She said, I will go to all the main daddies and daddas. And I think if I remember, she said there was 20 or 25, and asked them. And she said, even if 75% say, yes, Daddy, good idea, the 25% were not sure, she said she will wait a little bit for those souls to come on board. So, you know, we take the whole family together. We move together as one. It's a really wonderful thing. Okay, I'm going to finish there.